Hi, good afternoon, everybody. It's our Sunday session where we talk about all things financials. And if you're new to our channel, please subscribe so that you can get notified when we have our recordings posted. And if you would like to help our channel along, hit the like button and join us every Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. As we do our recordings, we will also have the Zoom invites in the description. So today, what I want to discuss would be the Forex trading that we do. And for the most part, most people have never heard of Forex, but I wanted to showcase what I see on my end. Because I do believe Forex does have a place in your passive investments, the same as stock, bonds, ETFs, and everything else in there. I believe that Forex has a place in there. Now, there again, every week we talk about a balanced portfolio, meaning everybody knows my numbers already: 50% in real estate, 30% buying of other businesses, and then the other 20 in the passive space. So with that structure, I believe that that's an all-weather fund for me, for myself. And as I build out the infrastructure in each and every one of them, please join me along the journey as we go along. But there again, we want a community that's questioning their very same topics and how they're building your own portfolios. My portfolio is my own uniquely. However, your numbers can be skewed a little differently, but there are multiple roads to getting to Rome. You don't have to take my numbers per se. Yours can be tweaked to whatever you like. But we find that each infrastructure takes some time to get to know. There is a level of investment that you have to take. And there again, this is my journey. So I'm not a financial advisor as such. For professional help in terms of individuals who would actually sell you a product, that's something totally different. We don't do that here. All I'm doing is sharing my experience. And if you want to join our community and enlighten us through your personal experience, that would be wonderful as well. So join us as we go along the journey. Today's topic is, how do you get started in Forex, and what does it look like, right? So I'll take you through what a download of my broker allows me to participate in, and you get an opportunity to see how I do my setups. Now, I won't show you all the setups, obviously, but I'll show you exactly how I do the downloads, and it's quick. So some of the brokers that I use in this space is Osprey FX, and I use LQD FX. So those two are brokers that I utilize in the space. But there again, you have to do your own due diligence on brokers in this space, because it's, whether you go with a registered broker or unregistered broker, you got to understand the risk in that. Each registered broker, they are subjected to regulations, and a lot of times they'll allow you to trade how you want. But there again, if you're looking at any hedging strategies, it's going to be extremely difficult for you to choose a broker in the United States. You would then have to use an offshore broker in order to do that, one through the UK and everything else like that. Now, the unregistered brokers, they're the ones who don't have to give you your money back. And in a lot of cases, we have heard stories of unregistered brokers doing that and manipulating their own software and allowing them to take advantage of your funding source. Well, it's going to be a lot of trial and error, and you're going to have to every now and then figure out which broker is going to be comfortable for you. But tonight, I'll share my own broker experience, and I'll use Osprey tonight just to show you what those downloads look like. And let me take you to one of them. Oh, and for those of you who don't have a VPN, I'm using interserver.net as a VPN for myself, and they're actually pretty good, and I like their speed and their quality. So if you want to use them, go right ahead. Let me find the Osprey broker, and I'll show you what it takes in order to download their setups. Okay, that one. Okay. Spray. So as soon as you go to your broker, you're going to set up an account. For all intensive purposes, tonight I'll set up a dummy account so we can get an idea of what it takes in order to start. They take security very seriously over here. So even with this, we had to sign up through a two-factor authenticator system in order to gain access to the system. However, once you get in, you're going to simply say download MetaTrader, and it'll give you a couple of options. I like to choose MetaTrader 4, and I'll show you how I do this. They have an executable file that you can tap into, and it will download a version. It will pop up a version of the software that you're downloading. So right here where it says setting, I will choose demo. Demo, for me, this is demo 6. I'll hit next. And I'll download this version of the MetaTrader 4 for me as it relates to having it on my desktop. In this case, in my VPN system. It's going to ask me a couple of questions. It's going to give me a username and password to log into this demo account. So I'll take you through what that process is like. So right now I'll hit finish. Give it a moment to pop up. There you go, demo number 5. Okay. So this is something else. This was not supposed to occur. Let me go back. I already had a demo number 5 in there. That's why. All right. So let me go back. Change that setting to demo number 6. Oh, I could use some of the executable files right here. There you go. So I'll set this one up as demo number 6. Okay. And there again, this is just a broker that I use every now and then. You're welcome to use another broker if you like. All right. Let's hit finish. And I think this one just appeared. So let me rename this one first of all to MT4 demo 6. Okay. All right. So now that we open our demo number 6, at this point, we still don't have an account with Osprey. So we're going to, at this time, if you want a live account, you can just simply select live. However, we're going to stick with the demo account just so that we can get acclimated to what it takes in order to start. We'll hit next. And here it's going to ask you for an existing trade account or a new demo account. We're simply going to hit next because it's a new demo account that we want. This would make it my 6th demo account that I'm starting with them. So we'll go to next here. All right, then it's going to ask you for all your relevant information. We can start this account with $1,500 instead with a leverage of 1 to 500. I have all my information in here and I will hit the select I agree to subscribe to the newsletter. And once I hit this, this is going to give me a password and everything else and a couple of numbers that will allow me to access that account, right? So I'll hit yes. This would be the login number, this would be the password, and then this would be the investor password. Now, one should save all of this so that when you're logging into these things, you'll actually have a copy of it. So I'll write this down right now, just out of curiosity, but they normally send you an email to make certain that you actually have this information. So I would probably just copy this. One brick. Okay. Let's see what happens. All right, I'll hit finish. All right, so now we have the account here. So for all intended purposes, I will show you what I see. Now this is the Forex broker, so you're going to see a lot of pairings and everything else in here. Tonight, I'm going to show you what I see on my graphs. I'll clear out some of this. I'll clear out some of the charts here and show you how I take a look at the charts. Okay, we'll keep one chart up. I normally specialize in trading of gold. So I'm going to add the gold symbol to this category. And gold is a metal. So you'd see different categories along this section here for symbols. Of course, you have your Forex majors. And there again, for those who don't know what Forex is, anytime you're utilizing another currency that's not your own, a lot of those currencies have pairings, and those pairings are traded in this Forex market. But for what I like to trade, because of the movement of price action, I like to trade gold. And gold is this symbol here, gold versus the US dollar, XAU USD. So I'll add this to the market watch. And then I will select this So here we are. We're now looking at gold. This is the price action of gold. At this particular time, I will take off the market watch and I would take off the navigator so that we can get a full view of what I'm looking at. Now, in order to show you what I see on my end, this goal is measured in the 4-hour time frame. So each candlestick or each bar in this window is a 4-hour window. Now, this 4-hour window, over the long term of the trading aspect of trading, most traders normally like to take a longer view because they can manage their risk that way. And that's all good and well. Let me show you how they manage their risk. So I just took out all the grids. I'm going to add a couple of things on here so to make it more visible in terms of what I like to see. So I'm going to insert a couple of trend indicators here. I'm going to put on here the parabolic SARs. Okay, there we go. I will also insert on here the Bollinger Bands. I will also insert on here a custom label called Heiken Ashi. I will allow DL imports. I'll leave the colors as they are, and I would hit OK. There we go. And I would also allow this not in the bar charts, but not in the candlesticks, but in the bar charts to get a better picture of understanding what side of the tape I need to be on. Okay. Now, this is what the window looks like in a 4-hour window. Yeah. Let me save this template. And let's call it test 1. As we call it, this is what we would view. This is what we would view in the trading spaces to allow us to trade. Now, since I have this saved, what I would like to do in this case is add another chart. I'll add 2 more charts to it in 2 different other time zones. So I would say new chart. Okay, and I would simply overlap test 1 on it. I would change this time frame to 15 minutes. I would add another chart. Gold. Test 1. I would change this to the 1 minute, and then I would spread them out. Okay. Now we're looking at the 1 minute, the 15 minute, and the 4 hours. Now, obviously, these are, the 1 minute is a very quick action motion. You don't really want to do your buying or selling in that arena. So I would change this, even though 4 hours is good and it's showing that we're supposed to be on the upside of the tape. Let's go in for a closer look in order to understand exactly what that means. So I'll take it into the 1 hour, the 5 minutes, and then the 1 minute. Now we have a different picture. For all trading, you're going to have to understand the story behind what's going on in the gold market. If I'm looking at the hour, it's telling me that on Friday, this thing took off to the moon on Friday. Today, it opened up higher than it closed, but it's also scaling back down, as indicated on the 5-minute. And I can tell from my SARS indicator that the SARS at this particular time was intersected, which means that I'm looking at a downward motion. However, if I take a closer look at this on the 1-minute, it's now range trading between 1876 and 1875.05. So what is that telling me? That's telling me that it's not conclusive at this particular point as to which direction it should take. However, my biases should always be on the 1 hour, showcasing the upside. However, there's nothing in the 5-minute or the 1-minute that's telling me that this thing is going up. So as a trader, I have to sit on my fingers until my biases is either confirmed or rejected. And at this particular juncture, the idea is that this uptrend may continue. It might go down before it goes up, but at the end of the day, we would want to catch the downtrend as well as the uptrend. And we can observe those through the 5-minute and the 1-minute charts. And with practice, depending on your strategy, we're not talking strategies tonight, but strategy for me is a hedging strategy. And I like it. I'm perfecting it. I'm getting better at it. And it's one of those strategies to whereby we want to make Forex our primary revenue generator in the passive space. And we want to do that primarily because we can earn a lot more funding here, leveraging the way that we leverage out of any other spaces. And this includes bot trading, this includes crypto trading, this includes crypto arbitrage. So we certainly can beat the market with a lot of training in this space. And you want to be careful because the learning curve is steep. It takes about 1.5 years to learn this thing, but you have to be committed. It's difficult to start and stop from my experience in order to do extremely well in this space. So you want to do well in the space, you almost have to I would tell anybody, set up a demo account first, get extremely profitable. And then after you get extremely profitable on the demo side, then tip your toe in. But please, for all intended purposes, don't bring any money to the table. Start off with $100 or $500, something along those lines, and get an idea for how you want to generate your returns. But once you get good at it, you can do 3x, 4x within your account in short order. Now, it's not a get rich quick thing, because at the end of the day, you're not going to come to this thing with $500 and expect that you become a millionaire overnight. It's a lot of learning. It's a lot of patience. It's a lot of you developing your own strategy. My strategy may not work for you because you may not have the psychology in order to take it on. But there again, with enough education behind you, and it's only at that time that you should bring money to the table after you have experienced enough education in the space. But I do have more tools that I add to my charts. These are the basic ones. These are the ones that normally get you started with trying to understand what side of the tape you need to be on and how to be extremely patient with Forex, as well as going into learning what your risk tolerance is. What is your risk tolerance? For those of us who go to Vegas, my risk tolerance is real simple. And I keep it that way. If I'm at the tables and I lose $200 for that day, I walk away, right? And that's extremely disciplined. Now I come back the next day. If I lose another $200, I don't go anymore. And I use that very same discipline to the Forex market as well too, meaning I get to a certain percentage of loss, I'm out. Now, in my case, because I hedge, I'm not really out, I'm just in drawdown. But that gives me an opportunity to take advantage of the positions at a later time. So it doesn't matter what the market is doing, as long as I have a way of curtailing my loss to recoup and having the ability the following day or week in order to take advantage of my strategy, then it's just, for me, for my strategy, it's just a matter of time. But there again, not everybody trades the way that I do. And you have to do a lot of studying over the YouTube channels in order to have a good understanding of the type of trader that you want to be. However, this is a wonderful market. I like it because I see these kids that are anywhere between 20 and 25, and a lot of them are doing exceptionally well in the space, right? And they give you the motivation that as they share their story, you can achieve the same level of success as well too. Now, some of these kids between 20 and 25, they're buying exotic cars. And granted, they are showcasing a lifestyle out of trading, but there again, they're earning it in trading. And of course, everybody have their own specialty and their own secrets to Forex trading. But at the end of the day, if these kids are doing exceptionally well in the space and it's providing a level of motivation for you, what do you have to give up, right? You have to give up time. You have to give up learning. You have to give up having a connected space that understands that, losing is a part of the game in this Forex, but you just don't want to be losing for a long time or losing forever. And if they can do it, why can't we do the same and just have this as a part of our infrastructure? Now, yes, a lot of us on this channel have other things that we specialize in. Nobody is saying to stop that. But what I am saying is that if you can have an alternative means of revenue coming in from your portfolio, it can't hurt. And for those of us who want an alt-weather fund, I can no longer leave Forex out of that passive space, primarily because it does have a level of infusion that, and even over my experience over the last 6 months to a year, it has developed into a space that I see that has the potential to outdo all the other spaces, including the buying of the business, as well as buying of real estate. Now, don't get me wrong, all of those other spaces have its priorities. Buying of real estate, for me, is capital intensive, right? So anytime you're buying and selling real estate, whether it's in that commercial space, single family or multi, or whichever space that you're in, of course, we know that mine includes hotels and a commercial space, but those are capital intensive spaces. Now, buying of other businesses, those are labor intensive businesses, because out of buying of the businesses in that 30% space, we're using the capital of others in order to leverage what the asset buyout looks like. So that's labor intensive. Now, in the passive investment space, that too is a little labor intensive once you're going through the learning aspect of it. But after you master the learning aspect of it, you'll then be able to kind of set it and forget it in the passive space, meaning your drip policy that you have internally by just telling the banks where to send monies to the stock portfolios and they go directly into an investment, you're just monitoring those, right? where you're sending money over to the ETFs or your insurance policies for whole life appreciation of its cash value. All of those things can be done by a drip. You can actually set it and forget it also in the Forex market if you learn what to do. There are buttons in here that tell me that I can set, let's go to an order panel to show you what that looks like. New order window. Okay. Within this order window here, this is how you set it and forget it. On goal, I can set a stop loss and a take profit region. So between these two and the orders that I put in, I can certainly take advantage of setting it and forgetting it. But initially, whilst you're learning in this space, it's going to be extremely difficult for you to set it and forget it until you understand what the parameters that you're dealing with. So as long as you understand the parameters in the space, you can get to the point of where you're setting it and forgetting it. There's also something called pending orders, which others use as a set and forget as well. We won't go into too much detail of those tonight because we're not going to get into too much strategy, but I just wanted to showcase, number one, how to set up your MT4, as well as what you need to look for as it relates into being on the right side of the tape. So I didn't get into all of the Bollinger Bands tonight. Just know that I use those as guidelines. There are certain strategies called the Bollinger Band plus Heikin-Ashi strategies that are out there. There again, I use all of the templates as a, how should I put it? Everything you see that I put on here is almost a guide. Number one is, when do I get out of position? How do I create a bias? How does I allow my emotions to play into the trading game? So all of these help me manage my emotions. So when I see the Bollinger Band or I'm out of money for so much, I need to ask myself, why did either I win a trade or did I lose a trade? And every time I can answer those for myself and realize that I'm either in it or not, then that helps determine my next set of trades. And there again, with my hedging strategy, it gives me the ability to stay in a trade a lot longer without losing any money in the account. So I'm going to open it up for Q&A. Anyone who would like to ask any questions about this, feel free. And then we can certainly go from there. But that's my presentation tonight. You can unmute yourself and ask away. If not, I'll ask a question then.
I've got one if nobody does, but I'll go last.
Oh, go ahead, John. Your question would spur on other questions.
Okay, so I love this idea. I think it's an excellent thing to add to diversify a portfolio. My first question is, are there any metrics within this that you can look at your own percentages to kind of know when you were off or on, other than the obvious gain and loss, but any metrics that they keep? So you can look and say, hey, I keep winning or keep losing in certain areas, times, or whatever else, or buying strategies, so that you can amend those strategies to perfect it for you.
Yeah, you can. Meaning there are a couple of time zones, right, where volumes are traded at a great, how should I put it? At a great amount during different times. The New York opening is one of those timeframes, right? But there again, this Forex market goes crazy over the New York timeframes. And like most of you who sat through looking at the 9:30 stock open, it's almost similar to that, whereby you're unclear as to what side of the tape this thing is going to take. And it does it very viciously and very quickly. So those who learn to trade the New York session with proper risk management, they obviously do extremely well in that space. So between 7 and 10 o'clock is a beautiful time to trade for volatility, right? I find out that another movement within the Forex market, especially with gold, is so from that 7 to 10 pocket is a great area. It normally dies down, but still takes a position between 10 and 1. And then there's some movements, but it's slower between 1 and 3:30, right? Hence, between it goes real slow sometimes between 3 and 7 o'clock. And then when you get to after 7 and 8, you're getting into the London Open. So you have more trades starting to build up in that time frame. So for those of you who are interested in trading London, of course you gotta trade between 10 a.m. and 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. So those are the London hours. I don't know how many of you want to get up at that hour, but some people get up at 2 o'clock every day to trade from 2 to 7. Some get up to trade from 7 to 10 and vice versa. But there again, you don't always have to stare at the screen. Mind you, you can set it and forget it depending on the hours that you trade. Now, to measure your metric, yeah, I tied this thing to my FX book, and it gives me a ton of metrics out there on my trading ability and the times that I trade and the whole 9 yards. It gives me the sharp ratios, gives me my win-loss percentages. But the best metric is your account growing or is it shrinking? How much money are you making? How much money are you losing? That's the best metric, really. And some of the traders out there, how they gauge themselves is if they start off with $1,000 into an account, what they do is they grow that to 10,000 and they withdraw their initial $1,000. After they withdraw their $1,000, they now have $9,000 left in the account, and they try to take that to 30,000 and then withdraw about 20,000 or so out of it, and have that 10,000 in there constantly making money for them. So that's one of the metrics that some of the best traders in the world I see utilize. There again, a lot of times I'm only talking about the aspect of me bringing my own money to the table. Suppose I want to trade other people's money. If you look at the that very same broker that I utilize, they have what's called a funded account. So technically speaking, if you can bypass their challenges and you want to trade an account that's $100,000, which you can simply sign up to these prop trading firms, and they will actually give you money to trade if you can stay within their parameters, right? Now, their parameters, depending on the style of trading that you perform, can be a little strict, right? So you have to develop your own trading style, your own trading capacity, and then get into passing the challenges. You have individuals using prop firms' money up to $1 to $2 to $3 million, doing extremely well. And what they do is they do a profit split or profit sharing with you. FTMO, I think they're up to an 80-20 split right now. So if you make $100,000 in a month, you get to keep 80%, and they'll keep the other 20. But there again, if you can do exceptionally well in that space, prop firms all over the world are looking for you to make money for their investors. And a lot of investors, with everything else that's going on, they're finding a great deal of happiness in this space from an investor standpoint, because a lot of the prop firms, what they do is they simply pay their investors out a percentage of what you make. So some of those investors, even through those prop firms, depending on their arrangements, they're looking at, let's say 10, 20% a year, 30% a year. And let's say you can do that in a month. So you're going to look really, really good for prop firms. And it's not difficult to pass a lot of those challenges. You just need to spend the time to really understand what you're getting yourself into, understanding what side of the tape you're on, and then moving the needle in a space that you're comfortable with. Right. So that's one way to start it off for yourself in terms of owning your own account. Any other questions? Or did I answer your question, John?
Yes, one thing, making money, I agree with, is a good way to track it. But the one thing I look for myself, it's not always easy to find, is, individual trades or individual times or individual choices I make, how I can hone them and do better, like where I was losing money, how can I do it differently? Or was it times a day? Was it optioning pairs? What I was doing where I had the most losses or most gains.
Oh, you can track that with software. Through my, I use my FX book for that, because every time I purchase, every time I do a purchase, sell, buy, it's registered in there, and I can go back and it graphs either my progress or my demise. So it graphs it for you. And so you can analyze, and it tells you also, they do have setups to tell you that, look, from Monday to Friday, your best days are Thursdays and Tuesdays. They have, those are built-in metrics into the software itself that tracks and tells you. So you won't get lost in the data at all as it relates to your trading ability, or even what's a good time for you. Right.
Okay, that's good. That's what I was looking for. I just saved that website. One of the things I think is great is to really review your progress, whether it's successful or unsuccessful, so that you can see your best and worst times personally, because it could affect your schedule or your personality, what you're doing in your life for these things.
It affects everything. Let me tell you, you in this space, for those of us who want to do extremely well, and my family can tell you that there are times that I go around the clock, right? So I trade New York in the morning. I trade in the evening, and then I'm right back at it trading London again during certain days of the week. But you got to ask yourself, is that sustainable, right? It's not. But initially, when you're hungry for this thing, unfortunately, you have to do that until you get to the space whereby you can set it and forget it comfortably, because now you know exactly what you're doing, right, in terms of measuring your risk. But before you start to measure your risk, and that's why I tell everybody to start out on a demo, get all your kinks and angst out first, so that you could know exactly what type of trader you want to be, which then determines now, okay, I'm now only going to trade based on me and demo, and having this graph representing my emotional biases, the times I like trading, even to the direction I like trading. How do I perfect that so that I make it work for myself, and I make it work for my family? So, with a family, you're going to have times, if you have kids, you're going to have to get them ready in the morning. So maybe that morning time is not great for you. You're going to have pickup hours. Those pickup times are not relevant for you. Maybe you have feedings that you have to do. So between, your hours in the day, and maybe you have a job during this whole process. So maybe the daytime is not for you. So that leaves you trading between 8 and 11 o'clock at nights. Well, that's doable as well too. But now the idea is, if you can become extremely profitable on trading in the space, at what point in time do you give up your 9 to 5, right? And most people give up their 9 to 5 when they are able to match their revenues and supersede their revenues with about a 2x or 3x multiplier on that. So that's how individuals are leaving their day jobs now and making this their primary income. I like it. You know, if you like trading and you're one to enjoy the space, and for me, if your vision is to be on a boat and just having a laptop, this is more practical in terms of earning revenues without having to be at a 9 to 5. So that's it in the Forex space. Now, there again, the indices, you can actually trade the NASDAQ market as well too, and be proficient in that space just as much as you can trading gold or any of the other spaces. You just have to know what lane you want to be in so that once you start, you're going to master just one thing first before you start moving all over the place in this Forex market. But I like the setup. I like what I see. It gives you an idea of the biases that you need to have. Normally, my biases is based on the 1 hour. And based on that 1 hour, it helps in terms of understanding a direction. So once you gather that and you're able to start seeing how this thing moves and moves in your favor, then it's a no-brainer for you to understand how to make money in this space. But I can tell you that once you start making money in the space, you kind of get crazy with your strategy a little bit. Your emotions take on a different swing altogether. So get used to that. They say the psychology in this space is more valuable than anything else. Any additional questions? All right, we're right at top of the hour, and I will stop the recording here, but anybody got anything out of it? Anybody didn't get anything out of it? Did it make sense to some? Did it make sense to others? What did it mean to you? So voice your opinion, and then we'll close it out. All right, since I don't hear anybody, I can start picking on people. Hey, Dwight Williams, what did you get out of the session?
Hey, good night, everybody. So I did actually have a question, and I wanted to go back to the beginning. What would be the key components you look for in a broker, like when choosing a broker?
Oh, stability, really. If they have a long history of payouts, that sort of thing. I practice a lot of times with unregistered brokers, but if I have a choice between where to park my money, I'm going to park my money with a registered broker versus an unregistered broker. And you'd have to do your own research on that to make sense for yourself. And which broker do you choose? Do you choose one in the US or do you choose one out?
Okay, understood. Thank you.
Okay. All right, Whitney, what you got out of it? Maldini? Everybody a little quiet, but nonetheless, we're going to wrap it up, and hopefully I've answered everybody's questions, and then we'll connect next week, Sunday.
You can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
I had the mic is off. I really got a lot of it. I was looking at the platform and trying to get the basic understanding of it. But like I say, I like to just listen and look at it and try and get the knowledge of it, you know. But I like it. I really want to get more understanding on it. Whenever you get a chance.
Okay.
So you can set me up.
Not a problem. I have a Tuesday session at 8 o'clock.
8 p.m.
Yeah, 8 p.m. Yeah, I'll send a link out to everybody via email.
Okay, that'll be good.
And if that's the space that you want to play in, then
yeah,
you know, we certainly can plan it together, that kind of thing.
I'll be free then.
Okay,
All right.
all right.
All right then.
All right then, everybody. I'm gonna lock this down and then we will be in touch. So,
Have a good night.
all right, everybody, good night.
Good night, everybody.
Mhm.